have heard of it or seen it in a dream, a large door at the end of a narrow hallway. Before we can enter this door, we must first observe what is on the outside of this door. Let me take you to the front of the entrance to Second Ward 33, Broadbent Mental Asylum. Broadbent's walls are the most notable thing about the exterior detention center. The walls are known as gates to many who frequent the path to the asylum. Measuring in height, the walls are approximately 3 times bigger than the actual building itself. On the outside of the walls is a soft granite structure. On the inside, hard red brick. It's very clear that the goal is to keep people in rather than be concerned with others entering. The asylum reeks of a strong odor. Describing the smell would be tough, but the closest I can get to describing it would be a mixture of incense and fecal matter mixed, 40% to 60%. At the front office is an older-looking man. He sits in a red chair that seems to be barely usable. The chair looks as if it could tumble over at any minute. The man is holding a clipboard with various inmate names. Long gray bars surround his chair, and he is blocked off from the general public. Inside of this guest room exists a number of peculiar items. Large fish tanks with no fish inside of them. The walls are a beige yellow and look like they could be kicked down if hit hard enough. Multiple fish tank structures are present throughout this guest entrance, all on orange chairs. Moving forward into the next room, the front door opens and the first ward appears. Ward 23. Ward 23 is the first ward in the psychiatric hospital. It's the quietest room, apart from the guest room and the hospital itself. The ward, unlike the guest room, is not an open space. It is far more narrow, and the building's aesthetic has drastically changed. On the left and right side of the narrow ward are concrete bars that have been painted in red. Various inmates walk on the other side of the bars. Something darkly ominous resonates from the concrete bars as if they've been coaxed with something. Most of the inmates in Ward 23 are quiet and to themselves. Although the mental asylum inhabits some of the worst, this doesn't mean every bloke is off their rockers. Moving forward into the next ward, a sudden shift can be felt. Ward 27. Unlike earlier, the building looks rather similar. However, smell has amassed itself and coaxes through the building, that of a thick mixture of incense and charcoal. Why is the sudden shift in smell so important, you might ask? Smell is everything to the individuals of Broadbent Mental Asylum. The incense that lights and fumes through the cell walls keeps the individuals in their cells slightly somewhat sane. This ward is much darker. The individuals lying in the cell far less sane. Screams echo from behind the bars, and sounds of fingernails scraping as chalk echo through the ward. Ward 27 is barely lit, and yet all of the lamps in the ward seem to be purposefully turned upside down. It's as if the lamps were intentionally turned on their sides, and the light spill from the lamps exposed the inmates in their ward. Ward inmates span from all types of humans, your drug addicts, liars, cannibals, anything you can think of that would push an individual over the edge. Broadbent will eat you up and spit you out into its walls. Despite the large size of the facility and the mental wards, the ironic aspect of the ward is how little space there is for inmates. Each inmate is crammed together into either the left side of the room behind bars or the right side. There are no individual rooms. It's one continuous space. How do the inmates stick to their corners then? What keeps them from shifting and moving around? Similarly, as before mentioned, smell is the key to the asylum's darkest corners. The human nose picks up on the smallest of things. The incense that coats the rooms with walls and doors acts as a seditation device, calming the inmates and keeping them in their specific corners. Stop the incense and a bloodbath would arise. Near the end of this ward are the final 3 wards. These buildings are highly contained and locked up. Getting into the next ward requires 2 keys from 2 separate individual locks, along with the door having separate hazard signs. The rooms have shifted from wards and are now outlined by individual rooms, starting off with room 42. Inside the entrance of the room is a smoke machine that sprays at individuals who enter the building or exit. Its purposes are unknown, but the machine operates in a similar fashion to the entrance of a car wash. Similarly so, the next couple of aspects of the room act as a decontamination center, with long silver drapes similar to that of a car wash station. Immediate entrance into the room and a strong humming sound can be heard. The sound operates as a balancing effect. Its purpose is to nullify the intense screaming heard from the inmates in this room. The room is split up into multiple corridors, and unlike the previous ward, separate individual cells take up the space. Inmates at this level cannot be withheld in the same area. Similar to the last few levels, incense smoke corrodes the room. This time, however, it is different. The room is much deeper, and the smell takes up all areas of the room. A single match could result in immediate combustion. Room 42 is the largest room in the detention center. It operates as the home hub for the warden of the detention center, and also has the most rooms a part of it. This is the room where the security guards from room 43 operate out of as well. Room 42 is notorious for its loud sounds. The individuals in this room are very, very loud. It acts in a similar way to an individual with bipolar disorder, operating in and out of manic episodes and calm episodes. Cellmates shift from utter silence to extreme noise within a matter of minutes. Walking forward into the second last room, room 43. Unlike the other rooms a part of Broadbent Mental Asylum, room 43 is by far the most guarded. Security guards align every blockade and are equipped with long red bats. These bats have 3-inch wide spikes on the tips of them. Most inmates in this room take pleasure in being hit by the spikes. For example, a certain patient might run towards the cell walls in order to be hit by the spikes, and then recoil immediately in pain. The guards show no mercy towards inmates at all, and will immediately smash the baton into patients' heads as soon as they smash into the prison walls. Two types of guards operate in this room: the melee guards with spiked batons and the vacuum guards, who hold elongated weapons like vacuums in their hands. Their job is to clean up the blood that accumulates in this room. The room works in a similar system to a cycle. A patient will smash against the walls, get hit by the baton, blood will spray, and the vacuums will clean up the blood. This endless cycle parallels the cycle of insanity, and slowly even some of the guards will fall into their own version of it. Cleaners will get sick and tired of cleaning up blood, and swap jobs with security guards with bars. This room is unique in that it seems to have a never-ending supply of blood rotating through the room. Without help from the cleaners of the room, would swamp up far too much blood, making it uninhabitable. The only portion of the room that seems to have no blood near it is the entrance to the final room, room 44. Hush whispers talk of room 44, the final room part of Broadbent Mental Asylum. This mysterious door is unique in that it is always clean. Blood will ooze out of room 43, and yet not a sparkle of it will hit the door of 44. Rumors of 44 span across the entire asylum. People whispered in hushed tones that 44 only inhabits one individual by themselves. Supposedly those who attempt to open the door are met by waves and waves of smoke. What draws people to 44? The mystery behind it all? Even the most deranged inmate still wishes to see the inside of 44. However, attempted entrance to 44, an immediate sense of withdrawal occurs. Some might call it fear. Others could call it a feeling of self-doubt, a sense of loneliness, an addict's craving. Many who have attempted to open 44 and have mentioned different things. However, only the bravest have the courage to enter 44, and yet very little is heard back from them as to what resides in 44. All that is known is that of a single individual residing in the room. Curious enough, those who do enter are more preoccupied with the door to 44 than the room itself. Stamped right across the door in green ink, a viper all-encompassing spread across the door.